well.
But I'll get there. It could be worse.
You're taking one for the team.
I sprayed cologne on me to
worse.
stop the hot dog smell.
Order in the court. Order in the court. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled Rochester Downtown Development Authority meeting for Wednesday, February 28th, 2026. Madam Recording Secretary, the roll, please.
Paul Haig.
Here.
Lisa Germani-Williams.
Here.
Bob Bloomingdale. Missy Plez.
Here.
Eric Diana.
Here.
Roger Knapp. Tony LaPuma.
Here.
Mayor Jones.
Yes, here.
Chairman Giovanelli.
Here.
There's a quorum. Oh. Jessica Klosser. Bob DiTomaso. Don Sinkowitz. Christy Trevorrow.
Here.
There is a quorum.
Barely. All right. By the hair of our chinny chin chin. Well, I'll tell you, I did not have lightning on February 18th on my bingo card tonight, so I was like, okay, very good. Anyway, with that, thank you for coming out in this blustery evening. We appreciate you guys, of course, your service to the community. Approval of the meeting minutes for the regularly scheduled meeting from January 21st and the special meeting minutes from February 10th. Is there any questions or a motion in our future?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Haig.
I'll second it.
Support by the vice chair. All in favor of approval? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Audience comments. Seeing none, we shall march forward. Liaison reports can be equally as thrilling tonight, so we have no liaisons here. Well, no, I take that back. Paul's here, and we'll get the mayor to pinch it for city. Who could? Oh, were you?
I was, yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
can do a quick little,
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
All right, so let's let the mayor go first. Ladies first.
yeah, I'm just going off our last meeting. I just took a quick look at our last city council meeting last Monday night was just a complete positive meeting, lots of stuff going on. That was great. We swore in the new fire chief, Demoff, and we honored David Gasson, who stepped down after 30 years of being on planning commission. So that was wonderful. We are still working on the playgrounds, trying to, the one off of Ludlow is a done deal. The one over here by City Hall, we're working on a plan for that. And we received the Planning Commission annual report. It is the first time they've ever done an annual report. And moving forward, we will always get an annual report. So that was a nice new thing that we're starting. And that's about it.
That's fantastic. Well, always good stuff happening at council. Any
Yeah.
questions for our honorable mayor? Seeing none and marching forward, Mr. Haig.
Yes, well, last time we reviewed the budget and gave it to council. And we also then recapped fire and ice. That's about all we did.
Okay. Short, sweet, and to the point for Principal Shopping District. We appreciate that for sure. Thank you for that. Okay, there's no Chamber of Commerce because Bob's not here, and Mr. Sinkowitz is not here either, so we'll hear from those fine folks next meeting, I suppose. Marching forward, this is like the fastest meeting ever until now.
Yeah, wait.
Well, wait till Nick gets
Wait
up
for
there,
it.
right, all right, so general business items, the Graham and sort of the budget, so they're kind of linked, so let's have the conversation. So on last time we were here, we talked about the budget changes, and Sean was here, and we went through the numbers. We all decided that it sort of was what it was, and it was time to forward to council where we were at. So Christy drafted a memo last Friday, Thursday, something like that. Sent that off to council, so I presume you guys got it. So we've had some feedback, I think. I haven't, but I know that you've had some calls and that sort of thing. So, so again, any questions from council, let us know. But at this point, there's really no other update other than that. So we're still continuing as promised to thrift through the budget and see if, flip over every rock, and if we can find anything that we can, make a change and move over. But for now, we need, the numbers are what they are. And we go before council on Monday?
Monday.
So we'll go before council on Monday, and they will give us the thumbs up or thumbs down on a forward motion progress on it. We're hopeful that that's the outcome, of course, but it's going to be what it's going to be. I suspect it's going to be a robust conversation. So I'll double up on deodorant and take a bottle of water, and we're going in. It's going to be fine.
Can I interject a few
Yes,
things?
ma'am, please.
Because I have talked to a few council people.
Sure.
Just trying to get as many questions out ahead of time. So I have a few, if you don't mind me
Yep.
throwing them out here. Can you clarify about the bathroom? Indoor, outdoor hours, how will that run?
Ooh, so.
Christie raised her hand. I think she wants to answer that question.
Because I want to contribute, because I know they're going to be numbers questions, and I don't have that.
I mean, I got some of it. I don't know. Anthony, I got, my last email from Anthony was about half hour ago. It said add to cart. So I'm
I get
guessing
those
that means
emails from
he's done with
Anthony
me.
often, and I like the add to cart emails. Yes, so we have not set bathroom hours yet. I think that was something that we are going to do in conjunction with council. But the way that it's been designed is that there are two doors, so that it will be open from the exterior. So if, like, for instance, the farmer's market is going on, but we're not utilizing the building, the restaurants will still be accessible.
Okay.
Conversely, if we're only using the building, not doing anything else, just for safety reasons, obviously, we'll keep the outer door closed, but it'll be accessible from inside where people are gathering.
So would this be considered a downtown restroom? Because there was at least one council member that felt like that's what purpose it was serving. So I just wanted to clarify that.
So that, again, I think is a policy discussion, because in the area, and of course, I've talked to George a little bit about this, it's not a highly trafficked area, so to leave it open 24 hours would have some safety concerns. But it is a discussion to be had, but I know that there was interest in it being accessible outside of market hours, which we're certainly open to, but we wanted to talk once we got the green light to go, hours, things like that, because it wouldn't certainly impact how we built it, because it's already built to accommodate that. It's just a matter of establishing hours and working with public safety to make sure that we are doing it the right way.
When the door would be open?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
okay.
that if I could just sort of backfill on that one. So when we actually talked about that, it was, we're going to build it, and then we're going to defer to council as to how sort of the hours of operation, you know, the DDA would need it for, obviously, farmer's market and for the events going on down there. But after that, it's really going to be sort of a policy discussion. And, I mean, when I was sitting up here on the other one, it's like invariably you're dealing with sort of human issues, and it was always a deferral to public safety to figure out what, you know, what made sense hours-wise. We can't legislate morality, unfortunately, so,
Yeah.
you know, we'll defer to you guys. But the idea is that it would be separate, and then the bathrooms would be locked to the gram. So in other words, there wouldn't be a door connection. There'd be an outside door, so just the bathrooms you could get to.
Right, we don't want people wandering through the building if we're not in there.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So
So
it's
so
kind of
there's
like.
like a door that locks to the inside of the building,
Correct.
and then one to
Yep.
the outside?
Correct.
Yep.
Okay. Hold on, I got some notes here. Is the 3.7 million, the cost of the building is above and beyond that 3.7, correct?
Of the
Yes.
purchase?
The purchase of the
Yeah,
building.
yeah, that's the build,
purchase.
so that that's the build-out and all of the earthwork. So the building itself was 1.35, something like that.
325, I think.
And then the actual, the build-out is, the building itself, it came out to be a little over $300 a foot to just do the construction part of it. The rest of it is all the earthwork.
Okay.
So that was what drove the cost
I
of it.
figured that's what it was.
Yeah.
And then the money that the grant that was received, the 920, 930, whatever, is that included in the 3.7 million that it's cost to build?
Correct.
Okay. And is there, and I apologize if this has been explained a few times.
No, no.
The stage is not part of phase one, or is it part of phase one?
Phase two.
And you still will be able to maintain that grant, even though, wasn't it based on having a stage?
So in speaking with John Bry from Main Street Oakland County, I had explained to him sort of our situation with the funding. And I've kept him in the loop every couple of weeks. The poor guy, I think, is sorry to hear from me all the time. But the only component of the stage would be the only thing that we aren't delivering, because we said it was for the renovation of the building, it was for the ADA, it was for the bathrooms. So, and then the stage was the other part. So he's satisfied with the three with intent to still proceed with something in the future over there is fine. They're fine putting the 932?
931 and change.
931, putting it into the phase one as their contribution. They're fine with that.
931,
So,
485.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
And then for phase two, you're thinking it's going to be right around $1 million, which is where you're going to not do the lights and not do some of the infrastructure?
So we're actually, it's moving between the two, so the budget, and I can go through that in a second, but the budget for, the phase one is 3,050,000, whatever the number was in the, and then phase two is 700 grand. That is the,
So
the sti-
3.7 million is total,
all in, correct,
first and second?
correct.
Phase one,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So
Okay.
we just couldn't do it all in the same fiscal year, that's the problem.
Okay, well, that's good, that's actually good news.
Yeah.
And, okay, that's all of that,
Oh.
particularly council members' questions. There is going to be some pushback, I think. My sense is there's not 100% support. So I just want to give you a heads up for that. I would say that if there was a way, and I don't know if this is possible, to do, the 2.7 million was the original number, is that right?
2.8, yeah.
Two-
2.75.
oh,
okay.
2.7, okay.
Yeah,
So
but-
if you could, is there a way to show the line item, why it now is at the 3.7? Because
We just
Oh,
do
yeah,
that.
we're.
Yeah, that's what we
for
had at the
sure,
last meeting, yeah.
that is what you showed up here?
Yeah.
Because I thought that was total number up there,
But it's
not the
by,
difference.
but it was the line, oh, you mean from,
Yeah, they want
Yeah.
a map from 2.8 to
They want
3.7.
there to be an understanding of the increase.
Yeah, yeah, for
Because
sure.
what you showed up there was total numbers.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yep.
sure we can get
Does
that.
that make sense?
Yep,
Yeah.
100%.
I'm just, if we forward thinking on some of that, I think it will
Sure.
answer some
Yeah,
questions
see,
right out the
So
bat.
the councils get me from 2.8 to 3.7. So
right.
where'd the 900 grand come from?
Right,
It came from
right.
dirt work, but
Yeah.
we'll be able to.
Well, we also revised the plans several times, so, I mean, I think we just do a play-by-play of like, here's where we were at, this is what we changed, this is what the costs are, and
Yeah,
we go from there.
yeah, yeah, no worries. But I understand where you're coming from. We can do that, sure.
I think
not a
that's it.
problem. Okay, super.
Yeah. Not bad.
All right, so other than that, so you can see there's a lot of, once the numbers start getting big, the eyeballs get big and a lot of questions get
Yeah.
bigger. So, which is the way we're,
Right.
it should be. So this is not a thing. So I've been working with Anthony's tired of dealing with me, I think. So I feel bad for him because he's 50 pounds of dirt in a 5-pound bag these days, I'm sure. Being a CPA and accountant in this time of year, I totally get where he's at. So, my night job, I'm trying to get this fit in too, and I need some help from him, and he's been super helpful. So the main question, as I talked to you guys before last time, is do we have the money to do this? And the answer to the question was yes. So just kind of getting it to fit in within budget here. So I've got, the budget subcommittee met a week ago Monday? Yeah, so we already had our first pass, we kind of walked through some stuff, and I've got, it's not completely done yet, but kind of wanted to at least walk through, how the next 3 years are going to work out with, right? So phase one is going to be literally now through 6/30/2027, right? Next fiscal year, or no, yeah, next
Yes.
fiscal year. And then, so a chunk of it will be this year. We don't know, what I need to find out also too is how much of it's going to be in this year's budget, the actual spend and how much is going to be going forward. The total dollar amount, so Anthony and the team is going back and forth. So I've got stuff that's sort of in right church, wrong pew with respect to the 2 fiscal years right now, but in total, we're still tracking the same. So the things that I always get asked, at least in my tenure on the board, was from a capital to operating expense thing, what does that look like? How much of the total budget is capital? How much of the total budget is operating? That sort of thing. So as it stands right now, just sort of, and again, we're not 100% done yet, but the goal is to get this as clean as possible and then flip it over to council for their questions. And then once everybody's kind of happy with it, it'll come back here. We'll all take it up and vote on it or, either approve it or not approve it. And then it goes to council, and I think May is.
End of April? I
Yeah,
think
something
it
like
is.
that.
Say
So,
April-ish,
yeah, so but I want to get, we had a lot of takeaways from last year, one of which is to get numbers to council quicker. So, yeah, so we are 1,000,000% on that. But that notwithstanding, I wanted to take a look sort of for the next 3 fiscal years. So we're in 2026 right now, fiscal 2026. So June, again, we're on a 7/1 to 6/30 fiscal. And this fiscal year ends June 30th, 2026. We're working on the budget for June 30th, 2027. Then I got 28, 29. So we're looking out, 3 years. I just kind of want to get a feel for it. So in the memo that was sent out, the fund balance numbers came directly from Anthony, and he's confident that we're good. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm still, But my thing was, all right, what does it look like from a capital to operating expense ratio? And our goal was 60-40, if memory serves. So the projected for this year, and I got money that, so we're going to have some stuff that was in last year's budget or the current year budget that's going to get moved over. So like I said, there's going to be some horse trading. But it was 81% last year and 68.5% for the proposed going into this next year, 71.3 and then 66.5. And that is also inclusive of the theoretical maintenance expenses of the GRAM and that sort of thing. We tried to make sure that we got everything accounted for. So still, really, really good. From an operating expense net change year over year, the budget between 25 and 26, the difference is $7,347. So it's literally a push year over year. The difference in 27-28 is 38,441. So, and that's going to be related to, and this is all coming from finance, so I'm sure there's benefit stuff that they're thinking of and all this other stuff. And then another 27 grand in 28-29. So the good news is that from an operating expense, which is inclusive of salaries, it's inclusive of dumpsters, it's inclusive of electricity, it's everything that you can imagine that we do for the downtown. The difference between the current year and next year, as far as the numbers are shaking out right now, is $7,000. So again, so that's great, right? So all the other money that comes in is going to be going directly to capital. So as it's penciled in now, sorry, my wife is texting me. I'm trying to get out of here. Popping up. So in the current year, you guys will see some amendments to move some stuff back and forth. Like in the current year budget, the fiscal year 26, there's the second half of the county money that's in there. That's not going to come until next year because the project won't be done. So we'll shift that over. So like I said, there'll be some horse trading. Anthony had said that we're going to have more interest income this year because we didn't spend the money that we had. So that was sort of bank error in our favor. So there's a few moving parts, but I think we've got it pretty well dialed in. As I proposed it right now, I've added in another 50 grand for this year, this upcoming year, 28 and 29 for sort of the other, and this would be funding for bocce or something along those lines, right? So just so there's monies in for that. Again, we're still having these discussions. The committee's only met once, but I wanted to update you guys as to where that's at. And then it's the only deferral that's going to be that was going to happen this year that we had in the budget was the 450 for streets, but we're kicking that another year because we're going to have that coincide with the actual Main Street construction. So we got that direction from the administration, so thank you for that. That was super helpful. We're keeping the 325 in for parking, so that's not going to change. The debt service mortgage that's on it is what it is. So at the end of the day.
The light poles,
What's that?
light poles.
Oh, light poles too, sorry, yeah. So the light poles, in 2029, I put them back in, it was only at 100 grand, so I put it back to 250, so.
Because we had 200 and then 100.
Yeah. So I put it back to the way it was like last year, right? So, again, it's sort of a moving thing, but I just wanted to, for me, it's always a reality check. Are we on the right track, right? So long story short is, yes, we're on the right track. Fund balance, Anthony had us at 511,032 at the end of 2028. So again, we've got horse trading between the years, and I've got us right now at 439, a little bit lower. But $71,000 off of what you guys got, but 50 of that is that money that I'm putting in there for sort of other capital. So we're in good shape, I guess is the long story of it is. So I'll continue to work with Anthony. Hopefully I'll get to the point where I don't get add to cart or out of office emails from him. I can imagine every single department is just on him and Marcy like, white on rice. So, but it's that time of the year, right? So that's what we do. So we'll get this sorted. As soon as it's in good shape, I'll reconvene the subcommittee. Probably our next meeting can just be Zoom. It doesn't have to, we don't have to be, unless you guys want to get together. Well, I love seeing everybody's smiling face, and it's good, but it's probably easier just to get together on TV. But we'll review it, and then if it's good, flip it over the fence to council. So that's sort of my intent. So coming soon to a packet near you. I want to get it to you guys I'd love to get it to you before Monday. So you have all of that to kind of see where our head's at, knowing that this is sort of everything subject to change, but certainly well before the 7th when we're presenting, so.
9th.
Yeah. Fair?
9th.
Whatever,
Yes,
that day. Is that
yes.
the 9th?
It's I have the 25 calendar, hang on. Leanne didn't switch her
Whatever day
calendar.
that is, we'll be there. It's the 9th.
The 9th, yes, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Because I want to go to Florida, and I
Is that
can't
the
go
wrong
because I got to go before council. So you guys are messing up my program.
Sorry.
So. Tony doesn't care, he's just going, so.
You're the brains behind the operation.
No, man, this is, it's all right. All right, we good? Oh, okay, all right, so anyway, with that, that's kind of my update on that. I will get for council the map from 2.8 to 3.7. I'll tell you right now, it was all rigid inclusions. But we'll get back there.
Because
so.
that question probably will be asked.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no.
You'll present it before it's even asked.
For sure,
which is
yeah.
awesome.
We're trying to get out in front of it, and we've been super transparent, at least we've tried to be transparent on this whole process, so, it's gonna be what's gonna be, and then if the votes are there, great, if not, then we'll just write a check back to Oakland County for 600 and whatever grand.
Put a for sale sign on the lawn, yep.
I think there is an understanding that it is your funds.
Yeah.
Also, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there is that understanding
Yeah.
that, and
Well,
there
it's
is
our funds,
support of
whereas
the
the
project.
community's funds,
But
right.
it's funds that you've collected
Yeah.
in your taxes, so just so you know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll, I can't,
There's gotta be a couple little hurdles.
I expect to get tased at least once or twice on the way out, so it'll be fine. Just taking some, lose battles to win wars, right, Tony?
That's right.
All right. Any questions? All right, very good. Seeing none, moving forward, social district update, Madam Director.
So back again, as you may recall, this was something that we talked about a few years ago. This, social districts are not a new thing. And we looked at it and then walked away, looked at it again, walked away, but we're back again. So Missy had asked for it to be discussed on goals and objectives, and at that meeting, it seemed positive that people wanted to hear more. So the team met with Chief George to start talking about it and seeing what we needed to do. At the last meeting, I went ahead and gave you just a little primer, which I included, again, information about just generally social districts. But Chief George has put together a nice presentation, and I thought this would be a good moment to flip it over to Chief George.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Hello.
Sure you want to get tased?
Don't tase me, bro.
That was one of the worst feelings. So yes, this conversation has been ongoing since I was hired here. And, I've seen a lot of changes downtown. The dynamics are changing. You're getting more people for certain events down here. The news media wants to be part of every event now. So you have new businesses coming in. There's a lot of construction going on. So it's all changing. So maybe this is a good time to talk about it. This is going to be I would imagine a lot of you guys have done research on this. You probably know some things you don't. So that's what I'm here for. So to start off, these social districts were enacted in the law in 2020. And I gave you the law. It's Michigan Power Law 436/5781. If you read that law, it's pretty simple reading. That'll basically tell you everything you need to do to implement a social district. This law has created the social district permit. That's what the bars would have. It allows our local government, our council, to designate a social district. And you have to be a qualified liquor establishment to have a social district permit. You might ask yourself, what is a qualified liquor establishment? So the majority of our businesses, they have Class C licenses, meaning you can go in there, usually they have food, they'll serve you beer, wine, mixed drinks, and spirits. We have 24 in town, 24 Class Cs. We don't have any taverns, hotels, one, that's the Royal Park, B Hotel, none, the Club G1 and 2s, that doesn't pertain to us, the Brew Pub, we got the Rochester Mills, and then we have licensed on-premises and off-premise tasting rooms. That Bitter Tom's would be a perfect example. So these are the type of establishments that would be allowed to apply for a social district permit. You're gonna hear the word commons area a lot. So what is a commons area? Basically, it's an area that is basically outlined by our local government that says, hey, these are the areas that you can consume alcohol in. And I'll show you, I have examples of that. They must be clearly defined. We're gonna have to use a lot of signs, like stop, you are now exiting a social district, or it could be you're now entering a social district. But you have to have signs out there so the people know what they're doing. Retail stores do not participate in social districts. However, they can allow people to enter the store with alcohol, and they may have rules that, hey, we don't want you in our store with alcohol, because that may pose liability. They have the right to deny people entry. So some of the rules of a social district, again, only licensed establishments that have been approved for a social district permit. So a lot of these bars, if you go to the Michigan Liquor Control Commission website, they have licenses and they have certain permits, like a dance permit, entertainment permit, outdoor permit. Social district permit would be included in that. You can't leave, they can't serve the alcohol in glasses. You cannot exceed a cup with 16 ounces or more of beer, wine, or a mixed drink. So once you leave the premise with the cup, you can't re-enter it. Let's say you want to guzzle it, and you want to go back in for a refill, cannot do. You cannot enter any other liquor establishment with beer. That's like bringing your own beer into a bar. You can't do that. It's against the law. Alcohol cannot be served within the social district commons area, meaning if I have a special event, and I'll explain that in a little bit, I can't serve alcohol in that commons area. I have to separate that from the special event license. You need 2 qualified licenses whose licensed premises are contiguous to the commons area. So you need 2 or more bars that are attached to the commons area in order to formulate this. And at any time, if we believe that there's a health, safety issue with the social district or the common area, we would have to go to council. They'd have to have a minimum of 1 meeting and decide what they want to do. When I talked about separating the area, a perfect example is a corner bar. The corner bar, Kris Kringle is a perfect example. They pull a special license permit. They have a beer tent in the middle of West 4th Street. So if West 4th Street is designated a commons area for consumption, the corner bar has to rope off their tent. We can rope off the whole area and shut down that portion of the commons area for that event, or we can leave a pathway. It has to be a designated pathway. We'll have to put a sign up if they wanted to walk from, let's say, Main Street all the way to Walnut. So you cannot enter, if the corner bar was having the beer tent there, you cannot enter that beer tent with that cup of alcohol. So that's why they have to have it roped off. It has to be separated. City council responsibilities, very simple. First of all, they got to approve the social district area. This is going to be the most difficult part in this whole thing. They got to approve the area, the social district area, and they have to decide where can the consumption take place, where these commons, this commons area or areas be located. Once they decide that they're going to approve this, they're going to send the resolution. I'll show you the form. They're going to send that to the Liquor Control Commission. They have to submit a management and maintenance plan that, including the hours of operation. Basically, the management and maintenance plan is an overview of the program. I don't know who's going to write that. Whoever does, I certainly can help them. It's very simple. I've talked to other police chiefs from other communities. I mean, I could write that if nobody else wanted to do that. Very simple. You must submit a diagram of the social district and the areas where you can consume in. And also, I talked about this, you have to have one public meeting if there's any issues with the health and welfare, safety, anything like that. So that's all the council has to do. The next step, this is the form they fill. You can see that it takes probably about 3 minutes to fill out. This form goes to the Liquor Control Commission, along with the other things I talked about. This is an example of a social district map. This is a city of Tecumseh. So you'll see the yellow part here. This defines the social district. So this is where all the action's at. This is where the bars, restaurants, all the actions. And you see here, area 1 and area 2, they separated it. These are the commons area. These are the areas where you can consume alcohol. You cannot leave these areas. So you're going to have signs posted just about in every little location here, indicating that you cannot leave the area. They decided to go with 2. Some cities just go with 1 big area. You have to identify on the map who are the businesses that are the qualified businesses that are serving alcohol. You can even put where the signage is. So you have to be kind of creative when you develop this map, because this is gonna get reviewed by the state. So, I looked at Rochester, so this is an example. I mean, I'm not suggesting this, but the simplest way, if you wanna do this, and you wanna encompass all the liquor establishments and make everybody happy, the simplest way is to go from Main Street, from Second to University, from Walnut to Water. This way, every business that serves alcohol would be in here. Now, the only businesses that, to the north of this, you have Payne Creek, you have Ernie's, you have Paul's, and you have the Silver Spoon, those four. If you wanted to open up to them so they could be part of it, then we would just have Main Street up to, let's say, Old Town, maybe 100 feet north of Old Town. That would encompass just about every single liquor establishment in Rochester here.
Except the hotel.
Except the hotel. If we do the hotel, now you're talking a huge social district, common area, that, the greater the area, the more difficult it is for us to control. So, that's the biggest decision. Where do we want the boundaries to begin and end? And this, again, this is just an example. You can cut it off here, you can go north, you can even bring it up, tighten up the east and west streets, but this is the most, I think, equitable way of doing it. Now, the question is, where do you want the commons area? Do we make this whole area a commons area? Or just certain sections, or just have Main Street, you can consume on Main Street, parts on Walnut when you come out of the Roxy, the corner bar, then you got the Rochester Brewery here on Water, so that's what you gotta decide. There's no rules, I haven't seen any rules that it has to be a certain square footage or anything like that, so if you want this whole area to be the commons area, that's fine, but we just have to educate the public on where you can enter and where you cannot enter.
I feel like drinking and tattoos go really well together.
Yeah, could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. So that's the best example I can show you. I mean, if you want to support every business in town, this is the only way you can do it. That's the only way you can do it. So, we talked about the management and maintenance plan. These are just some things that you should have on the management and maintenance plan. The main thing, again, is the map, the hours. They want to know about police services. They want to know about waste management. One thing, too, I've seen other cities do, if I'm a business and I want to apply for a social district permit, they typically will enhance their insurance, and they will name the city of, for instance, the city of Rochester.
Additional insurance.
Would be an additional insured.
Yeah.
So that's a common thing. Usually it's $1 million, the aggregate amount's $2 million. So that's something for council to think about. But it's just a basic overview of the plan, or the program rather, and I can assist with that. So how does a business apply? So we talked about a qualified business. So if you're one of those businesses, Class C brewery, you can apply. Once approved for the social district, you fill out first they gotta get approved by council. That's the first step. So the council approves them. Once they're approved, they're gonna fill out an LCC 208 form. I'll show you that. It's very simple. They fill out that form, they submit it to the liquor control. Liquor control comes on their premise for $70. They inspect it. They issue them the social district permit if everything coincides with everything. $250 they pay. They'll have an approval hearing. They will take past violations in consideration. Let's say they're serving minors, things of that nature. They may not get a permit for that. And their social district permit typically will expire when their license expires. Most liquor licenses expire April of every year.
George, on that one, is it $250 per year? Do they have to pay $250 every year to
They'll
keep
have to
in
pay
this?
every year.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
This is the permit they have to fill out, the 208, LCC 208. You can see how simple it is. Very simple. Things to consider. Main thing, again, is the size of the social district. How big do we want to go? Where are the commons areas? Do we want to make this seasonal? Times of operation. I put 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. I thought that was fair. In my opinion, I would not want to have people walking out of my liquor establishment after 11 o'clock. Typically, you tell people at 10:30, hey, we stop serving at 11. Seasonal, that could be a little bit confusing for the people. If we're going to do it, I say do it year-round. I considered wristbands, because for us, it may be difficult when you're walking out of the bar. I see somebody with alcohol, I don't know if they're 21 or not. You know, if they had wristbands, it would make our jobs easier. Who knows? I mean, somebody can pass the torch to somebody else out in the street. Sign placement, we gotta figure out where to place signs. We don't wanna put 100 signs up and every, 2 feet we see a sign here and junk up the downtown area. That's the last thing we wanna do. So that's why the next one, the marketing, advertising, the social media, educate, that's gonna be huge in this thing. We need every business to participate. Maybe they can pass out brochures. This is how our social district works. Christie's a master at, talking to the media and making posters. So education is key. And let's face it, a lot of the people that come down here, they're repeat people. So they're gonna know the rules after a while. And I've talked to a lot of police chiefs that have this, and they says, you know what, George, to be honest, you're not gonna have many people walking out of businesses with alcohol. It's a novelty at first. During special events, I could see, like if we had Chris Kringle, let's say, or Lanyap would be a big one. But your typical weekend, no. You're not gonna have much, and they don't have any issues, none. Garbage cans, obviously, you're gonna need more garbage cans out there, because they're gonna be throwing cups. These are some of the communities in Oakland County that have social districts, and again, I've spoken to at least 4 of them, and no issues. Very simple. In conclusion, again, this is very simple, but it's gonna be up to the council to decide, first of all, do we want social districts? How large do we want the social districts? We talked about, we had Lanyap here, we had 50,000 people here, 0 incidents, 0, that's unheard of. We have a very good culture here. I'm not concerned about it. I mean, typically a police chief would have concerns from me dealing with all the people here for the last half years and working all these events. We have some good people that come into town here. We don't have any issues. And if we do have an issue, we'll take care of it. And if there's an issue with the social district, then again, here we should modify this plan anyways every year and make adjustments. If we gotta make an adjustment, we'll make an adjustment. If we gotta shut it down, we'll shut it down. But we gotta try it to see if it succeeds. And again, advertising, education, that's gonna be the big thing. Especially the bars that have the permits, they need to educate their patrons, what you can do, what you cannot do. And the last thing I wanna say is, this is simple, let's keep it simple. I mean, that's it about social districts. I didn't know much about social districts coming in, but I've done a lot of research, talked to a lot of people, did my homework, and honestly, based on like the changes I see coming downtown, and I see the changes in the crowds and how people behave, personally, I do not see this a hindrance on the city. I think this would be something nice to come out, especially it's a nice day, you want to, walk out of a bar and listen to music, walk down the street. I don't think it's gonna be a chug fest where they're gonna be using a beer
Upside down
bong.
kegs.
You know what I mean? I don't think that's gonna happen, and if it does, we take care of it. But I don't think that's what's gonna happen in town. I talked to Clausen, Oxford, Royal Oak, Ferndale. They have nothing like that, so. But I'm pretty confident we'll work, but it's just a matter of getting everybody on the same page here, especially council, and you've seen how easy it is for council. Just basically need a resolution and a maintenance plan, and then the businesses. I mean, that's simple. And I don't think there's gonna be a lot of businesses that wanna do this. You may have a handful, maybe 4 or 5 of them that wanna get involved in this. Some people may not wanna take on the extra liability. But, another thing I talked about too is, like if you buy the cups, let's say the DDA sells all the cups, you could do that, and you can charge a surcharge, say 50 cents a cup or $1 a cup. All that money that you're making from that surcharge can be reinvested into the program, where you can buy signs, you can buy garbage cans, you maybe pay for extra security, but that's just an option, so. Any questions?
Any questions for the chief?
My
Madam Mayor.
question would be, well, 2. One, for the businesses that apply, it says that you hold an approval hearing. Who is that in front of?
First of all, you have to approve if they're a qualified business, you approve it, you approve them.
You as counsel.
Then they
Yeah.
fill out that application, that LCC, whatever it was. They submit that to the Liquor Control Commission. They review it. They do an inspection on their premises. They look at their past violations. Then, if everything's good with your resolution and your approval, because it's gonna say, check, the council approved this, then they will issue the social district permit.
So is it a hearing in front of council?
No, that would be on their end. The only thing you
Okay.
have to do is say, I approve you. Then they have to do the rest through the liquor control, and that's a separate hearing in Lansing or Sterling
Okay,
Heights, where
through
they
that.
have their office.
So does, I'm wondering, does the business have to do, I'm just thinking a cumbersome part on the businesses. They have to do that every year? Or once you're approved, you're
Once you're
approved?
approved, you're approved unless there's an issue. Like if we have an issue with that particular business, we'll violate them, a rule violation, and then we have to go to a hearing, and then they can suspend their permits. I mean, it's easy to do, and they will.
And the insurance piece, so something about the city. What was the insurance
Typically,
piece?
if you're gonna do this, you wanna be covered as a city and say, hey, if you're leaving, let's say, the corner bar with a beer, we need you to name the city of Rochester as a, added insured person on here, so,
So the businesses would add us?
they add that on their insurance
The city
policy.
would be the additional insured.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But that's a common thing, don't let that scare you.
Right.
That's just
Yeah, no, it's,
common.
it doesn't cost the,
I mean, I,
What percentage of businesses that serve liquor in an average city will do this? You were saying not everyone would do it. Is there any kind of generality to that?
That's a hard question. I've looked at some of the maps that cities, like Clawson, I looked at Ferndale, there's only maybe 4 or 5 businesses. Say there's 20 bars, 25 bars, maybe 4 or 5.
Interesting.
So I'm gonna guesstimate here, we have, I said, what do we have, 24 Class Cs here? From the 24 Class Cs, I bet you maybe 5 will apply, maybe.
Okay, that's great.
so I can't help but think about the Lions Park. That's been such a chatter about what we're even doing.
You can
with
add
the-
that on,
So if they were added,
yeah.
then Rochester Mills could,
So
Well,
Rochester Mills on water, they would be included in the social district common areas, and you can all include on your map, when you submit it to the state, you circle the area where that pavilion is in the park, but you gotta have signs, where do you wanna end it? You know what I mean? Where do you wanna end the
and
consumption?
that's confusing, because in
Plus there's-
city parks, you can't drink,
Yeah,
so, or have alcohol.
this park, you can
so-
drink this.
Right, that might get complicated.
Simplicity.
Right.
I mean, because you don't want,
can't drink
here's
in
the
the
thing, I don't want people
can't
walking
drink in the
around
park.
this entire town drinking.
Right.
I worry about them getting in their car, things
Got
like
it,
that,
okay.
but
And George, correct me if I'm
let's make
wrong,
it simple.
a social district does not override city ordinances. So if it's a city park,
Yes.
like they couldn't,
Right.
even if the municipal park was in the social district,
Correct.
doesn't matter.
Couldn't drink there.
Still couldn't drink there,
Yeah.
doesn't
Unless
matter.
you change the,
Underlying ordinance,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
But as, yes, social district doesn't have the power of a,
and again,
like an
that's up.
ordinance.
That makes sense,
That's
yeah.
up to our city council. You decide where you want this. And once you decide that, the rest is downhill, trust me. It's
so if the
very simple.
park is in the city's name, is that a problem versus DDA?
That's coming up at our next item.
It's like, it's a proverbial onion. The more layers you peel back, the more you want to
I
crack.
mean, here's the thing, if there's music in a park, and they say, oh, there's no, you can't bring beer in, I'm still gonna go listen to the music, I wanna get out of my house, you know?
Right.
Turn the car on, I wanna go back home, no. You know,
Well, I mean,
you're gonna go.
we have music in the municipal park,
Yeah.
and people come without alcohol.
Exactly,
So,
and they have a
yeah.
great time, it's just,
Right.
when you have one park serving alcohol and the rest not, that's
Right.
gonna mess it all up, trust
Yeah.
me, it's too much.
Yep, I get that.
You want this, I think it's a great concept, simple.
Simple, yeah.
Any other, Eric?
I would actually love my esteemed colleague to my right, I would love her thoughts on this, as she's obviously a business owner and.
Well, and I think we've talked at previous meetings that, Rochester Mills, we like the idea. We think it would be a nice addition to our city, other cities do it. The park, I know, has come up a few times, and that was a concert series that Ra Ra has put on, if anybody doesn't know, that we partnered with Ra Ra so we basically, some of our items that we sell, we give money back to Ra Ra for. So it's really just a contribution back to them. So I know they still want to do the concerts, whether we can serve alcohol next year or not. I know we've talked about a few other ways we could maybe get around that with the parking, like, because the parking lot is still a piece of our property, not into the park. Anyways, that's another thing. So I like the idea of social districting. I think for events, it would be great. One of the areas where we might want to include is that, where we had fire and ice. Because if you want that, like right now on the suggested map, that parking lot wasn't included. If we're going to want to let fire and ice be not as fenced in as what it had to be this year, you would have to include that, it's like here,
Yep,
right?
right beneath,
Right, isn't that the?
I think just right beneath you, go down, yep, that's the,
So that's
This is
one.
Yeah, 'cause-
Mr. Mills. So yeah.
Yeah,
this
that area.
parking lot. Oh, is this fire station right here, right?
yeah.
You can always expand that.
Yeah, yeah, so
just
that
is-
would be the only thing I would, if it's going to be kind of an event-driven
Yeah.
thing that we're gonna
Farmers
use,
market in
yeah.
there, that's included.
Right, yeah,
You can do whatever you want with the boundaries. But again, you want to be reasonable.
Sure.
Can we even do anything to the post office? Because that's like,
Well, that's, as long as you're not on the property. I mean,
Okay.
you're not gonna be tooling around federal property with.
Let's go.
and library, I'm sure you don't want people
No.
walking around the library, but so yeah, you're gonna wanna,
Your main-
people just
really
getting
look at that
drunk.
map.
Your
People
main
getting drunk,
consumption's
burning
gonna be
books.
like in
Yeah.
your north, south, Main Street, up and down, looking at the shops in your third streets and your fourth streets. That's gonna be your main concentration.
Actually, you know what? If people threw beer bottles at the post office, no, I'm kidding.
I'll stop.
I'll stop there.
Madam Director.
Hi. So if you're wondering why I brought this to DDA, it's because in many cities that have DDAs, their DDAs manage part of the program. Of course, city council has all the approvals and all that, but they work with the businesses to get them onboarded, they work with the signs, and then they manage the cups. The cups are a requirement. The cups have to have the logo of the social district, whatever that is, and then every establishment that has them, on the lid, they have to have their own sticker that shows it came from Rochester Mills or from Bitter Tom's or whatever it is. So that's a requirement. Some cities produce the cups, and then people buy them from them, some at a profit, some at just pass-through. I've been talking with Ferndale a little bit, that they're actually working with a company through one of their restaurants that would be an online order site that people can just go and order the cups, the different restaurants, and so the DDA coordinated it, but then they'll be kind of hands-off and let them
We
just.
do have that, we do that with our Brewers Guild.
Yeah.
Where all the breweries in the state will go on and order ourselves. So we're responsible for buying the glasses
Yep.
that the Brewers Guild put together.
Right, but
So,
then, yeah,
we're-
but we'd be responsible for coordinating the initial logo, coordinating getting the businesses on board. I will tell you, just casually, I haven't sent anything out to anybody, but in casual conversations, I have at least 6 establishments right now that are ready to go. The other thing, some of the things that we actually, the team 2 years ago, went to Farmington, walked their social district. For their signage, they really recommended at cross streets. So when people are coming up to Main Street, have it at, the corner of, using Fourth and Main right there. So maybe have it at Walnut, that you're now entering the social district, the backside, you are now leaving the social district. You come up to Main Street, you're in the social district. You go across, coming up to Water, when it crosses by the mills, it would be you're leaving the social district, you're in that kind of thing. So they didn't have them all over the place. There's no requirement of how many you have to have, just that they're at the boundary points. Because that was one of our concerns. We didn't want it to look like there's stuff all over
Post
everything.
maps, too.
You can post maps, there's a lot of things you can
Nice-looking
do.
maps out there. It's,
Yeah. One of the things that they recommended is in the initial application to city council, that you list, as George stated, all of the eligible restaurants or bars or whatever, because then if they're in that initial application, then if they choose to come in, then they can go ahead and come in and ask for consideration. If they don't, then they have to come back and you have to have a separate meeting where they ask to be added to the social, so it just kind of slows it down a bit.
So with the application that would come before council would list every single business in the city, so you would
That
approve it, and then to
potentially
the
could
extent
do
that
it.
they want to be in or out is up to
Right.
you.
It's up to them, exactly right.
That
It
way you
has
don't have
nothing to do with
keep
us.
letting everybody
Right.
come in.
Right, but then it just speeds the process along for them and then for us, because I have a feeling that we'll get the initial group of people. I don't know if suddenly, then we'll get somebody, 3 months later, oh, I think I want to do that. But we might get new restaurants in that
Right.
suddenly want to do things. And so we want to make sure that, we make it as easy as possible. But again, and then the DDA is responsible for, like you said, the mapping, the education,
Yep.
onboarding the businesses, all those kinds of things. So that's why I was bringing it to to this board to look at. Ultimately, everything lies at council, but council's going to need a mechanism if they want to execute this. They need somebody that's going to manage it. I don't know that Nick or Jeremy want to manage it.
I think Nick does.
Nick does. Nick's into it, man.
I'm gonna say one thing. I promised these guys I wouldn't say what I really feel about this, so I'm gonna ask George to clarify.
Thank you.
this. Can you go back to the slide that showed whatever community that was, that had two separate ones? So picture that.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna ask you to clarify this. The yellow's the district, so are you can walk anywhere in the yellow with the cup?
Yeah.
I assume you can't take a sip out of the cup until you get into the
The
pink.
consumption areas are the.
Okay, so if we made the whole city, the whole DDA, you could walk around and drink
Yes.
as you
Yes.
walk.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And also to clarify, back during COVID, and this is something I included in your packet, when they did it, because, for instance, Ferndale has a state highway running through, just like we do. They had to establish two separate social districts, which was a big nightmare, but that's how they had to do it. They have now fixed that, and the letter from Attorney Crott clarifies that it is, it doesn't matter now, it can be one total district. It doesn't have to be separated because it's a
So
state
if
highway.
If you see this pink area, there's gonna be a qualified business within this pink area that's selling. So you're walking out into the commons area, but there will be signs that you cannot leave these areas. So same with this area, you're gonna have a business that's attached to the commons area that's gonna sell, and you have to remain in the area. You cannot leave the area. So.
I find that confusing.
I know, yeah.
I do too.
And eventually, it looks like they're drinking in a parking lot.
Well, that's why it's
Right.
important, that's why it's important to have, you have to have a business that's attached, two or more, that's attached to the area. So you couldn't have Royal Park sell booze, and then they have to walk all the way into these areas, 4 or 5 blocks. That doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. Soon as I walk out of that business, I'm already into the commons area.
Yep.
That's the goal.
So
Now,
that's
this could be a little bit difficult to manage, because there's two separate ones. I mean, if you're gonna do it, and you must just do the whole box, you know,
so-
and it's not,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be that difficult.
So, at least so a few things sort of occurred to me. How does this dovetail with outdoor dining?
I don't know that it does
You
necessarily.
can't, well, here's the thing, so I think the outdoor dining would be fine, because they have their own permit, they have an outdoor permit for that. But again, they can't take that beer, let's say.
Yeah, I
let's
get
say-
done with dinner, I wake.
I can't leave the deck and go into the street to the commons area.
Right.
And drink that. I have to stay on the deck.
Gotcha.
Again, you can't bring booze into the commons.
But if you wanted one to go, you'd have to go inside, get it in the
Right.
cup, and then you'd be
Yes.
good to go.
You
Yes.
can't sell or consume that, that's just the way it is.
So, your recommendation to keep it simple, the Kiss principle couldn't be, I think that's 1,000,000% we need to follow that and keep it simple. I also, agree that, we're gonna live into this, right? So we're gonna figure out how it works in practice, to your point. We don't have a lot of hammerheads running around here, with
Right.
brown bags and 40s running up and down the street. And I don't get the sense that this was what would occur here. I've got friends that own restaurants in Clarkston, and they just love the fact that, and they have stuff going on all the time down there, and they have never had any issues, so.
I would suggest sending out maybe just a basic survey to
Yeah,
businesses.
yeah.
Hey, what do you think about this? Are you interested? Let's say all these establishments north of university say, I don't want anything to do with it. That's even better.
Yeah.
Because now I can shrink it,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
just find out who's interested.
Yeah,
who's
for sure.
not.
And again, I'm not looking to add more to our dance card. We got a lot of
Right.
stuff going on right now, so, but I want to keep this discussion going because there's been a lot of interest. This thing always falls to me as no good deed goes unpunished. There's always going to be something you didn't know about or you didn't really know until it came out. But, given the fact that it's been around for a long time, Chief, for me, it's going to be, all right, who's against it, right? So if you came in here and said, this is great, it's worked for others, it won't work for us because of this, right? The fact that you say it's no big deal, I've talked to other chiefs, and really it ends up being, in effect, and I'm paraphrasing, but much ado about nothing, because most people don't do that anyway.
If I knew that I couldn't manage this, and the members of the department couldn't manage this, and knowing the people that come down here, knowing all the events,
Yeah,
and we have 0 issues, I mean, if we had issue after issue, this would concern me.
Yeah, for sure.
And if I talk to these other departments that have had these for years, they says, don't do it. I'm gonna go with what they say.
Yeah, maybe and for council, and at least for me too, just to, so we know on the DDA board, but maybe a report out from the PD like once a quarter or something, just sort of a report, this is what's gone on since the district has been in effect. We've had this number of, kind of like we used to get on council for the other stuff, but this is, so that way, if there is a trend developing that nobody foresaw, that all of a sudden the hammerheads come out, then we can revisit it, shut it down, tweak it, change it, do whatever, so. So let's go ahead and take sort of an informal survey of who wants to be in. From a management standpoint, the signage, the marketing, all that stuff, the DDA would handle that. The city, we would just ask, for council for the permission to do it. And then I would suspect that we would sort of, be the day-to-day, hand-to-hand combat. And then to the extent that there's issues, people yelling at us, you guys yelling at us.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear the feedback, see who's interested in this.
Yeah, so let's do that, and we'll just we'll keep the discussion going. This is not anything that we're going to institute and ask council to approve for this coming meeting. I mean, this is, it's gonna be sort of let's, go out and have dinner first and maybe do some dating and then see how this goes. And
So I'll plan to bring that, results of the survey back to the March DDA meeting.
perfect.
Thank
Chief,
you.
Chief,
Thank you for all
thank you
that.
for all that, we appreciate it. I know it's extra credit, and it's not like you don't have enough going on in your life, so we appreciate you doing that. Okay, moving forward, goals and objectives, Mr. Manager.
Yeah.
Yes, pretty much all. So, history on the Little Lions Park, from what we can ascertain with the city attorney, there's 2 parcels there. The bridge and I don't have a map here because.
I didn't put anything in the packet of which park, if you can just clarify
The
for everybody.
Lions, I think they call it the Lions Park.
Behind the mills.
Over by the Royal Park. So you have a little amphitheater that was built, so decades ago, the DDA sold to the Rewalds, paid the Rewalds for that area. For some reason, in the last couple of years, the Rewalds think that, they still, that they. You know the parcel.
Okay, so I would like to clarify that this was while I was not with the DDA, otherwise I would be able to tell you. But I was very clear that we bought the property. And then when everything started that Frank wanted to do something with the amphitheater and do some different things, he was convinced that they had granted us an easement for said property. And so then no one could find any paperwork. The previous director that had my job had one Word document that was 16 pages long, and that's all I had. So I couldn't find anything. So we just went ahead and did that. So then after further digging by Attorney Crott, he found that we did indeed own about 3/4 or 2/3? 3/5 of the area. And the city owns the other part, which also includes the railroad bridge, which the DDA restored many years ago. So the question that Nick had posed to me, and then I got it for Marcy, and then I got it for Crott, and everybody the question is, does the DDA want to turn over our parcel to the city? We had already done that because we thought it was an easement and then went over. So the city has already assumed the grass cutting and the maintenance in that area. And then Frank went ahead and did his great donation of the upgrades over there. The city paid to have the gazebo painted, all that good stuff. So it's in really great shape right now. Where the sticking point came is exactly what Mayor Jones was talking about, is the alcohol concern over there, not in a bad way. But if the DDA still retained ownership, then they could go ahead and for any concerts that are going on out there, it wouldn't be considered a city park, so that they could then do whatever they wanted to do out there with alcohol or things like that, because DDAs can operate differently than a city. But then we would be taking back on the maintenance of said property, which we had for all these years up until just last year. Or we sign it back over to the city, and then they do whatever they're going to do with that. Then unless there's a change in ordinance, precludes service of alcohol in there, because it would be considered a city park.
And then we would maintain it, because you don't.
And then they would maintain
You
it.
don't, we talked about, not to be fair to you guys, you don't want us to, if we deeded it all to you, you don't want the bridge, trust me. We don't really.
Is that the one where we had the fish spawning and we had to stop?
That's correct.
That is the one.
Okay, God.
So, it's either one of us should.
Stop working, the fish are spawning.
Yeah, 'cause if we leave it like it is now, whenever there's an event, you can't take a chance that someone's gonna walk across into the park, because there's people out there that'll watch for that. So you would have to put a fence in every time through the middle of the amphitheater, which makes absolutely no sense. So one of us should own both. If you wanna own it, so that you can have liquor there 4 times a year, okay. If you don't want it, then it's gonna be a park that we maintain and leave it at that. They can have concerts, just like they do in the municipal park, but
Right, and I don't think that we have to have alcohol there. I mean,
I agree.
it was lovely, but, you know, they fill the park. Go
I
on
don't
us
think
with
you
that.
made bank on it, you're donating the money.
We donated the, yeah, it really wasn't about, it wasn't a moneymaker for us.
Right.
It was a way that, and Rah Rah was very pleased with, what happened last year there. They said that was one of their biggest events that they've had. So they want to continue doing the concerts, whether, we'll still sell food and try and help them out, but, you know, it wasn't a big moneymaker. It was really just more to help them get it off the
And I don't
ground.
know how many people cared about the liquor or not on it, I don't know, so.
And then I would like it to remain a city park if we could, if that works for the DDA. And the Lions, I gave a ridiculous amount of money many, many years ago for it to be named after them. They gave a donation to the city for their name to be on it. So no matter what, no one from the Lions, and they're all kind of elderly, to be honest, could remember exactly why that happened. But it would remain the Lions Park no matter what, I assume.
So it was, that one I do know about, so that was the Rochester Lions Club. It was a more active chapter, I would say, about 25 years ago, and they were actively looking for something to put their name on downtown because Rotary Park had just opened, and they were looking for something. They wanted something,
yeah.
and this was something that the previous administration was working on, and at the time with Roy. And they were able to get an easement, because actually we have an easement for that 4th Street walkway that walks up to connect downtown too.
Okay.
Not ownership, but just easement. And they, if I'm not mistaken, the Lions, I think they put about 75,000 into the park.
lot,
It was,
yeah.
well, it's relative, but 75,000, because I mean, the whole project was a lot more than that.
Right.
But I know that Tony's had some of the Lions guys coming in saying they want to do stuff. They want to add more to the park. They want to reinvest in it.
They're really old.
Apparently.
Now, that surprises me, because when I went to their meetings and everything, nobody wanted.
Oh, dear.
I even told them Rah Rah's gonna do events there. No one seemed interested whatsoever. And I mean, I had walked by there for years, which is why I had talked to Frank about it. And Frank looks out his window and there's nothing being used there. And it was just so exciting I mean, I was super excited that there were events there. So no matter where this goes, I think we should continue. I mean, it's set up for music events, and now especially with the new shelter.
And it'll just be
You know.
the normal procedure, if it's our park, it's a special
They
event, you go to the
just
city
book through
council,
the.
ask for a special
And
event.
we actually
We
have,
maintain.
had it, we already put it on, so people could reserve it if they wanted to, but I think we temporarily removed it because we didn't know where it was gonna land.
If it's a
So,
special event, can you get alcohol permit? Like,
No.
No,
how do they-
That
how do
Not in the
doesn't
city
trump
park.
Not in a park.
The park.
Oh.
Again, you could do it on 3/5 of it, but
Yeah.
No, no,
Or-
I'm not, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to totally understand. I mean, I don't care. So
And when
what-
we did it there, we had to sell it, just to be clear, we had to sell it from our parking lot.
Right.
We couldn't sell it on the property.
And there was like, they couldn't go over.
And you
we had
couldn't go
an
past the
area.
pathway.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
we
So you had
really
to
were
buy
only
it,
allowed
pound it,
to.
and then go back in.
You could go to the first little grassy area before you got to the sidewalk, but you couldn't cross it.
Right.
Okay, so maybe.
The grassy
So,
knoll.
yeah.
The grassy
pretty
knoll. So
much,
is
yes.
there a way we can incorporate, would the social district come into play there?
No, so
Okay.
social district doesn't
No, no, no,
override
no,
the
not the
city
park part, but I
Yeah.
mean what Missy's talking about in terms of sort of the.
Well, whether social districting happen or not, that, the parking lot is.
Oh, it's
the-
Mills.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's,
gotcha.
it's our property because it's connected to our building.
Gotcha, so
and
your
So we
your
could
license
still
extends all the way out to your
Yeah,
property.
so we could still sell there.
Yeah.
It would have to be kept in
Gotcha. It's
our
like
spot,
Oktoberfest,
Which
yeah.
is like, yes.
Yeah, because they still have to file for a temporary liquor license
Yes.
permit when they're serving outside.
Yes,
Gotcha.
which and we have an additional bar, that's where all the licensing comes in with the
Gotcha.
state. They charge you for every little piece you want
So
to
what's,
sell.
what's the, what's
So
your
either-
preference?
so my preference
Bicycle
would for
bar,
it to stay in
like-
the city, and I think that's
it's
probably.
not stay, we don't own it. The
Like-
DDA.
I'm just saying, what
I
do you
feel
guys
like
want?
we've thought all this
Oh,
time
yeah,
we owned
no,
it,
no,
but
no.
we don't own it.
If you
So-
guys want it,
They
I mean,
can't go into
it's.
the park, right?
It's just a quick claim deed from the DDA.
Okay, so, all right, let's rope this one back in if we can, so we're not here all night. No, nothing personal, but these, you know how these things tend to go, right? So the question on the table is, you guys, The question on the table would be, does the DDA want to deed its 3/5 ownership of the park over to the city and just kind of us walk away and just chuck the keys to the city? Because to Nick's point, I know we don't want anything to do with that bridge because that thing was a fortune. And then with those.
Who is responsible for that bridge, by the way?
We had to rebuild the entire thing and then it was
Yeah.
shut down because some endangered
Not MDOT?
fish was spawning. It was
Not
just a
MDOT?
thing, man.
No,
Let's see how the meeting goes
no,
on
they're talking
Monday,
about the
then
bridge
we'll talk
between the
about it.
Royal Park and there.
No,
It's not a transportation bridge.
Dangle that park.
We're gonna wait until that meeting on Monday. Let's see how that meeting goes on Monday. Maybe we'll use it as a negotiating.
Tony's negotiating. I like the effort here, but from a
Telling ya.
yeah.
Now, to be, there's one other option. If you thought it was important to be able to, you control, so you could have not just those concerts, things with alcohol. We could subdivide the property right at the bridge line, and the city keeps the bridge, and then you would have the whole amphitheater, but then you have to maintain it all. So that's a possibility too. So we'd have to do a new legal description.
Or we could sell it to the city too.
All right, so using.
Come on, Nick, work with us, would you please?
So using Chiefs George, keep
We
it
got a
simple,
bocce court
stupid
to build.
strategy. It feels to me the easiest thing here is to go ahead and flip the keys over to the city and just be done with it. Is there any, do you have any thoughts either way? Anybody?
I don't. What I had said to Marcy, because she's responsible for coordinating, is because eventually when our stage gets built, I'd love to have some coordination so that we're not scheduling things at the same time.
Yeah,
for
of
sure.
course, yeah.
And RARA already has contacted bands because they really did,
They
thought it
didn't
was
know it was an
successful
issue.
last
Yeah,
year.
so
Yeah.
they,
So
yeah.
does anybody on the board have any feelings about keeping or divesting of this 3/5 interest in the park?
I promise I'm not trying to be difficult.
Yeah, no. That's why we're having the discussion.
I'm not even a bean counter like you are, Mr. Chairman.
I
but-
don't want to have to pay to keep it going. That's where I'm at, so,
But in theory,
yeah.
how much is this land worth that we were just gonna,
3/5 of a piece of dirt, I have no idea. You can't really build nothing on
Well,
it.
Frank made it worth a lot more by donating basically.
and how is the,
Well,
and also, how is the soil?
Wait, for the record,
Yeah. We're gonna need rigid inclusion.
for the record, because this irritates me.
Yeah, he did
Frank
not
didn't
donate.
donate that. He was obligated to build
Right.
Elizabeth Park, but he used that money,
Right,
so he
yes.
didn't donate. And I don't want,
Yeah.
that's not
But it
fair.
was a forward purchase too towards what he hasn't built.
No.
Would he have interest in buying it?
No.
He wanted to get
Yeah.
rid of it, because he doesn't want to maintain it.
Would the Lions Club maintain it?
No.
Cut the grass
We
and
can't even find a Lions.
They come in and talk to me, Debbie. I mean, that one guy was on me
tell
hard
him
for.
to-
Tony, they might do it with a push mower, but like.
I
you know.
think the easiest thing is
No,
just to have
no,
the city.
it's one of these,
How big of a piece of dirt is what the DDA owns? Acreage, foot-wise?
Acre.
Is it an acre?
Probably
it's just
close.
the old finance major in me just hates.
Yeah, no, so an acre of land, if it was sold on market in downtown, what's the value of it? Just,
Yeah, no, because it's not developable, so zero.
yeah. I mean, it's deed restricted, right? There's not.
It's minimal.
Like to the Rewalds, it's not something they want. I'm shocked.
Okay.
I do know Ra did offer to cut the grass, if that meant they were going to get to have their concert. But that's, I mean, that's just a temporary thing, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
because
sure.
if they don't next year decide to do the concerts, then who's going to be responsible?
Then I have no
I
issue.
do know
with-
they've
All right, so
said that,
if your
yeah.
guys' preference is to take it all back, I say, let's just go ahead and chuck the keys. And
Do we need to have a roll call vote?
So do you want to, do we need to do that now or do it in our budget, or how do you want to do
Or
it?
do you want to prepare a deed and bring it back?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
And then we'll do it in the March meeting, and then we'll have more people here in theory, so.
Yes.
Perfect. Good. All right, so you can tell
That's good.
everybody that you guys.
And we didn't expect action tonight, I'm
Good.
sorry, it was just so,
I think it's perfect.
Okay,
mull it
great.
over, and we'll get with Attorney Crowell, we'll come up with
Yeah.
a transfer, and then. we'll take
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's an acre of dirt, it's got some value, well, we don't know, it's something greater than zero, but not much
Yeah,
north of
we
it.
put it on tonight because Ra-Ra's been freaking out.
Yeah.
And I think we've all been saying, just proceed.
Yeah,
It
no,
just
don't worry
doesn't-
about
It doesn't matter
Oh,
who owns it.
I think they're good now. They were
Yeah.
just caught off guard because
I
they
did
thought it
tell
was
them to
all, yeah.
proceed. I
Yeah.
emailed them
So
after we had the
the
first
intent of the
discussion.
DDA, you can just tell them is, at our next meeting, we're going to review a deed transfer. Our assumption is that it'll get approved, the city will pick it up, and then the city will be responsible for everything going forward. And then we'll just deal with the scheduling of events in the future once the
Yeah.
Graham State.
Absolutely, yes, sir, okay, thank you.
Okay, great, yeah, awesome. All right, well, that's good. Horse is dead. Madam Director, Executive Director update.
Nope, outdoor dining.
Oh,
60
shit.
platforms.
Shoot. Sorry. I got all sidetracked on that.
I know.
That was it.
Yeah.
Okay, outdoor dining platforms. As you may recall, this is another program that started back in 2020 for giving the opportunity for restaurants that didn't already have an outdoor patio so they could have outdoor dining so they could serve. The same restaurants that participated last year would like to participate again. So on your memo, and this is for people at home, is Boss Barber, Rochester Brunch House, which actually has 2 platforms, St. 1881, the Spice and Tea Exchange, and Tuvalu. The way that this works is if this board would like to proceed with that, we own the dining decks. We do not charge the businesses to use them. We put them into place and then we remove them in October. And then we go to city council for their consideration. And then as a part of that, Anthony will put together a pro forma of how much the average use is for each of the parking meters that we're using, and then puts as a cost that's then charged to the DDA for use of the parking spaces, since you won't be able to park in them because we're parking in them, technically. So the way this works is that if DDA wants to move forward, then we get a motion here, and then I work with finance to put that together. No.
So I want,
No.
I would appreciate in the motion, we get to decide, the city does, if they're all appropriate. Boss Barber, forget the problems they had. We had our cops talk about it's not safe where that deck is coming out of the alley. It's real hard, because they do it beautifully. So I want the right to have, if it's not safe, they can't have that. So it's not,
Oh, of
I don't
course.
want, I'll take the blame for it.
Yeah.
It's nothing against them, but we have to make it safe. All the other ones are easy.
Yeah.
That's very scary coming out of there. We didn't like it before.
I just don't want to get sued. That's all I care about.
Yes, I spoke with the chief, but I will clarify, because I asked him about Boss Barber, and he said that we were good.
I have another question.
Traffic, I see.
Well, I want my chief saying it's good.
Sounds like we're gonna need some giant sumo suits and some sort of battle.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Why aren't the businesses that are having the platforms paying for the parking areas?
We've never asked them to. That would be a policy change if we wanted to do that, I
I'm
suspect.
just trying to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So just as from a historical perspective, these things came about during COVID because of the indoor restrictions.
Exactly.
So, your point is well taken. We got these legacy costs now that it's not sort of applicable. We've been sort of eating it over the years. The dollar amount involved wasn't that great. If memory serves, it was like 10 grand, 15
Yeah,
grand,
yeah,
something.
I think it's like
I
13,000.
mean, I don't
from
want
where
to
we are
say
now.
that that's not a lot of money, but
It's
it's not a lot.
13,000 among 6 places, yeah. 2.5.
And most of them, actually all of them add plants and chairs, and we don't put furnishings, anything like that. So then their investment is beautifying them.
Yeah. So the only thing that we're subsidizing is actually the actual occupation of that deck in the parking spot.
Right.
So you're saying that why shouldn't the business just pay for it if they want to do it?
Or a
transition.
portion of it. That's a thought to put out.
Yeah. So let's figure out do we know what the parking fund's gonna charge us for those? I can't remember.
No, I'll find out from Anthony.
All right, so let's go ahead, and it's a valid question, right? So let's see, and then, run a flagpole, because the big one's a brunch house, because it's just beautiful the way they do it.
Yeah, they do a great job.
And it's good for them because it's increasing their footprint and allowing them to serve more food. So to Paul's point, they're gonna spend an extra $500 for the season to do that, is probably worth it for them. So this year especially, I'm super sensitive to budget issues, right? We're flipping over every rock and taking out all of our couch cushions and looking for loose change. So let's just see if there's a there. If not, and we'll let the board decide. You guys will decide whether or not you want to do it or not. But in terms of continuing the program, is there a general consensus that we want to continue the program?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's good. My only comment is, does someone go and check? It seems like some of them are so far into the sidewalk. I mean, there are a couple sections of sidewalk that are hard in the summer.
They're all set, no,
It is. I mean, there's one particular area by Gus O'Connor's there that is so tight.
That's not what I'm talking about. These are the platforms that go in the parking spaces. That's
Oh,
outdoor
you're
dining
right.
with Main Street.
Okay, that, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, our stuff, nothing's on the sidewalks other than an ADA accessible ramping.
Okay, my mind went both places.
Yeah, no.
So, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
2 different programs.
Hindsight being 20/20, we should have just filled the well in, but that's me.
No.
Well, it would have solved the mayor's problem. I mean,
No, keep the well.
whatever. We're trying to be historically significant and respectful of
All right, so bring this back in March.
Correct. So I would let, everybody know that, at least the businesses, that, yeah, we're just going through the process right now. Just heads up, we're going to also be considering passing the cost along to, or a portion of the cost. We don't know what that looks like. We'll know at the March meeting.
Sounds good. Fair.
Okay. So, yeah, there's no action required on that until next
Not
meeting.
yet,
so-
nope.
Okay, all right, cool.
No.
All right, now, Executive Director update.
Hi. Everything is in your packet. I apologize, it's so thick, but this is the awards catalog this year. Last year, we were 3 for 3, including Volunteer of the Year, Mr. Ben Giovanelli. So if anyone has any suggestions of things that they would like us to submit applications for awards, please let me know. And then the very last page, the Breakfast Summit that I think several people have attended on and off, that has been scheduled again for March 19th. It's a free event. If you do want to attend, the link is right here, but don't go there yet because I went there today and it is not live. So I think it'll be live next week, but it's going to be in Pontiac at the Lafayette Grand. But this is where several of the county commissioners come, as well as the executive culture comes to this as well, just to hear from the communities of some of our successes and maybe some of our challenges. And it was out of one of these summits a couple years ago where the ARPA conversation came that they created a fund for us for the projects like the Graham and many other around the city. So you never know what's going to happen. They're actually bringing in a group from out of town that's going to facilitate, so it should be really interesting. But again, free event, so you don't need to register you. If you're interested, help yourself, but I would wait until next week because I don't think that anything's live yet, and the whole Main Street team is down in St. Louis at a training right now, so,
Gotcha.
yes.
All right, very good. Anything else? All right, events and marketing, that was both.
Everything's in your packet.
Okay, very good. Financial reports.
Oh,
also-
wait, I'm sorry.
Hit the brakes.
Sorry, back
Back
up.
the truck up.
Foodie February. Okay, so this is really cool. So you may recall at the last meeting that Missy and I mentioned that there was a restaurant meeting and that a bunch of us got together and that as a DDA team, we sat and listened throughout some things. And so as a first attempt at working together, we said, hey, how about Foodie February? Let's pump it up. They told us they'd love social media posts that are already pre-ready so they can just pop them out there. Postcards to go into the checkouts, Foodie February badges for some of their servers if they wanted to wear flair, that kind of thing. So at this point, compared to where we were previously, we've already received over 1,100 entries.
Wow.
I think the entire program last year only had like 312. So it's insane. So it just shows, and honestly, I mean, the expense is minimal, and we printed postcards at the FedEx Kinko's downtown and just ordered a few little things, but it was all already in the PSD's budget to do that, but the response has been phenomenal, and we're only halfway through the month. So just shows when you work together, some of the great things that can happen. And make sure send in your receipts. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be from your punch keys. It can be a cup of coffee. It doesn't have to be a big meal, but whatever it is from any of our food businesses. But it's been a great shot in the arm for the restaurants. We're excited about it.
That's great. That's awesome.
Okay, I'm done now.
Now you're done? Okay, very good. Financial report in the packet. Any questions? Let the director or myself know. BizDev.
We already went through that.
Yep, gotcha. Site.
Graham, bocce, and lights.
All right, baby. Rinse, lather, repeat. I can't wait till the Graham is no longer on this agenda. It's just gonna be,
Yeah.
it's making me age in dog years. Okay, any other parting words of wisdom from the board? All right, meeting adjourned.
I've already been out.